This video is about manually labeling the recordings using Audacity software and command line. So I'm using Linux operating system and I'm going to use bash for my command line. We ended last video with creating a trimmed file. This file was a 8+ minute recording. It is convenient to split it into clips of fixed length. We will use 10-second clips. For that, let's create a simple folder structure. Let's trim the long recording to 10-second clips. We will use the SOX software for that. The warning just says that the last clip was shorter than 10 seconds. This is not a problem. You see, we now have a folder full of clips. Indeed, the last one is just 5 seconds long. Now let's open one of these clips in Audacity software. For example, let's pick somewhere in the middle. Let's say 20. First step, let's add the spectrogram. We're going to use the parameters as discussed in the previous video. Great. Now, an important new component of the analysis. Place marker anywhere on the spectrogram and click. Then Ctrl A to select everything. And notice how you have a line on the spectrum. It allows us to select part of the spectrum. If we drag it like this, it will select it symmetrically. If we drag either side with a Control pressed, it will allow to select asymmetrically. We want to drag the bottom or the bottom boundary all the way to 0 and the top boundary just below this brighter horizontal line at 7K, roughly speaking. So we stop at about 6 or K. And we want to delete this part of the spectrum. We go to Effect and we look for Spectral Delete. Spectral Delete. Great. Next step, normalize. Where is normalize? Normalize. Next step, change speed. Apply. So all these steps have been discussed in the previous video and they should come as no surprise, except for spectral delete. Ctrl E to put everything in focus and let's select. So now the selection has the length of 200. Let's use the shorter selection, let's say 10. Ctrl E to put it in focus. We use this to guess where the events are. Let's play it. and see how it sounds. Okay, so you see, it seems like these two are very clear events. There are plausible events here and here, and this I'm not sure about. So when in doubt, I'm not gonna mark. So I'm gonna say that's the first event. Oh, and by the way, how do we mark these events in Audacity? Very simple. We put the cursor where we think the event starts, and we press Ctrl B. So this adds a label panel, and the first event is already there. To add more events, we just repeat. Ctrl B, Ctrl B. Let's say more, maybe Ctrl B. Let's continue a little more. Okay, this looks like an event. Ctrl B. This is certainly an event, even if we didn't play it yet. Ctrl B. Not sure about these ones. Oh yes. Ctrl B. We are finished. Ctrl F to see the full, and here you go. We have all our annotations. So how do we save them? We go to Export, Other, Export Labels, and then we just export it as a temporary file. And the reason it's temporary is because, remember, we have applied the speed effect. So the labels are not in the right time scale. You see? The clip was only 10 seconds length, and it shows up to 200 almost. So what we need to do is multiply by the speed factor. We can do it as follows. This is the factor, and we print. And this format, it says is necessary for Audacity to recognize the file as a label file. And then we give it values, T3. We apply it to temporary text, and then we redirect it to clip rename it as txt. There you go. Now we have nicely formatted values that do not exceed 10 seconds. How many? 62. So we have 62 events. We can check it by loading the clip and the label file. So let's close this one. Open annotations. This. And then let's import labels clip.txt. There you go. But let's zoom in and have a look here, for example. See? They seem to correspond. By the way, we don't need the temporary file anymore, so we could delete it. That's how we can label the recordings by hand using Audacity software.